Are you ready to take your business to the next level? Every day there are countless books and articles that are published offering the key on how to make your business a success. It's easy to feel overwhelmed trying to keep up and run your business. That's why Deb Creer created the Business Power Hour. Keep up on the latest trends, best practices, and techniques for how to make your business a success. Let the Business Power Hour do the heavy work for you.
Good morning, good morning. I am Deb Creer, and I am passionate about giving professionals the tools that they need to make themselves and their businesses as successful as possible. And today we're going to be talking about something that happened. This business took place before the pandemic, but holy schmoly, now it is something that we have to embrace. We have to go forward with, and that's digital events. And we're going to have so much fun talking about this. And so please join me in welcoming Ken Krell to our program today. Welcome, Ken.
Yeah, it's great to be with you.
Great. Well, let me tell people a little bit about you, and then we really will dive into this. So for over a third of a century, Ken Krell has inspired thousands of people from all over the world by sharing powerful ways to create wealth, prosperity, and happiness in their lives. Since 2009, he's produced multiple digital events, including World Love Week and OpportunityThon, the world record-setting 28.5-hour live marathon broadcast that featured, oh my gosh, that featured over 55 of the world's leading authorities on business, mindset, and success. He knows what works and what doesn't. Ken is here to share his PRIDE system, which is how you can produce ridiculously irresistible digital events and make the pivot to the digital stage a profitable one. So again, Ken, welcome.
It's great to be with you. Right? I was remembering 28 and a half hours nonstop. You get delirious after a while.
I bet. That's a lot of coffee.
Fun. It was fun. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Because I'm guessing that the adrenaline and just the excitement was really what kept it going.
Well, it was funny. When you're going to do an event like that, you always want to plan. You want to plan your sleep too, so you're ready. You have your energy, right? Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, I was producing the event as well as hosting it. Oh. So 24 hours before, I was still working. I did not have. By the time we started, I had 24 hours awake anyway. Mm-hmm. So I was really at 48 and a half hours. And I was able to get two 45-minute spells. I had a co-host that popped in to help out with that. Mm-hmm. But if you watch the video, you could sort of see me getting slowly delirious. but the thing is that people stayed with us. And there were people that literally stayed. You think, well, people stay. Mm-hmm. They stayed 28 and a half hours and then came back the following week for 4 hours more.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Which obviously means it was great content. And that is, kind of the meat and potatoes of all of this is you've got to provide great content. But let's go back just a smidge. Tell us, tell us how it is.
I told you it wasn't going to be boring.
I know. We had so much fun before.
I warned you.
Now, see, wait, let me put my seatbelt on. Let me buckle up. Tell us how it is that you got to where you are today and how you discovered that this really is your passion in life.
Well, it's been a journey.
If it is your passion, it might not be your passion. Who knows?
I would say that if you asked me the question about passion a few years ago, it would have been forced passion. Mm-hmm. I've been speaking, and as you read my bio, I was like, third of a century. It's been 39 years I've been on stages. Mm-hmm. 39
You started
years.
when you were this big.
Thank you. I love you so much. I love you. Yes. It started when I was like, before my mother even bore me. Right. So I've been doing this for a long, long time on stages, but for the most part, I've been speaking for other people. So when you would, for example, you're in Atlanta. When years ago, I would commute from Fort Lauderdale, where I was living, up to Atlanta. I had a contract with the Sheraton Midtown, which is now the W, and pretty much I lived there. They gave me a suite on the 26th floor. I'm no kidding. Cool. And I was doing.
You were the artist in residence.
It was awesome. It was great. When they turned it on the side, when they turned it to a W, I was devastated because they took the soul away from that hotel. It just it was like horrible. Anyway, long story short, for years I've been speaking for other people. I was on stages selling other people's stuff, millions of dollars globally, whether it was here in the US and Canada or here in Asia, Australia. So because I'm in Sydney now as we talk. So for that, I gained all sorts of experience, but I wasn't selling my stuff. I wasn't teaching my stuff. I would put my own spin on it, my own personality. So was there passion? Yeah. Passion for the audience all day long. And I never felt like I was working, ever felt like I was working, because it was just fun for someone to actually listen to me. Oh my God. And get paid for it. You know, I get put up in nice hotels and they feed me, and they, you know, I travel, and, you know, with all the miles you put on,
that's a pretty good life.
It was not, well, you know, socially it kind of sucked because I mean, I would get home and like my dog would be like, who the hell are you? You know?
Wait a minute. That other person fed us.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, friends were like, we don't call him anymore. He's never home. But that aside, it was amazing. So, you know, as the market shifted and changed, I was always struggling with, what should I do for me? What would be my signature thing? And I had all sorts of trouble with it. After the pandemic hit and after our OpportunityThon event concluded, and mind you, I've done all sorts of multiple events and all this, but nothing really clicked. I don't know if anybody you're watching this can relate to that. It just, you know, you go through the motions, but it just wasn't the thing that,
it was okay.
You know, authentically to your core. And then I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and he suggested something, and I was like, well, that's not really it. The suggestion was that I would teach people how to be booked on digital stages. And I was like, but I've been booked on like 5 stages in my life. Each one has lasted, you know, 5-10 years. You know, I'm not really qualified. But what I am qualified to talk about, and what I do on a consistent basis, is effectively sell from the stage, produce experiences for people, both physically and digitally, where they're inspired, where they take action, where they change their lives. That's the fun thing. And now I'm 100% consistent on a cellular basis with what I've always wanted to do. And it's funny, when that happens, Deb, magic shows up. People appear that, you know, from out of the blue, money shows up, opportunities show up, and you're no longer working.
Right.
Now it's just like, cool, we get to play. And the fun part about it is you get to call your own shots. Because a lot of people, when I did the OpportunityThon event, because I had friends that were in the hospitality business that were out of jobs, you know, whether it be, you know, airlines or restaurants or whatever. This from one friend was a chef, and I was like, well, and he's Thai. I was like, why don't you just go cook some Thai food and sell it downstairs? You know, tell people about it. They know you. Nah, I won't do that. And all these people would be like, nah. So I put on this event that would show people what's possible. You know, and now I teach people how to actually deliver their own content, take charge of their lives. For people that would be on physical stages and speak. I know you've had a number of people that, you know, that have been on the podcast that are professional speakers, you know, CSP, CPAEs, other members of NSA, National Speakers Association. A lot of these guys are struggling now. Their stages have been taken away from them. Well, here's the beautiful thing, Deb, and this is why I love it so much. It's better now. It's not anywhere near as hard as it was before. Digital events, and for a variety of reasons, and this could take hours to share with you, so I'll try and give it to you in bullet points. First of all, they're less expensive to produce.
Oh, way less.
Oh my God. I mean, we're doing something right now. We're on Zoom. I'm in Sydney. You're in Atlanta. You know, if we were going to do an event for you in Atlanta, and we should be talking about you doing an event because you have a lot of content to deliver. But if you were to do an event in Atlanta, say it was going to be at the W, my old haunting ground, right? You'd still have to have people flying in. You know, they're spending thousands of dollars to do that, taking time off and all this business. And then for you, if you weren't going to do in Atlanta, you'd have to be flying to, let's say, Dallas as another hub city, for example, or wherever. You got the expense for that. You got the expense for your team in the hotel. You've got the massive additional costs along with it. And guess what? If you're traveling as a speaker, for example, to speak at an event like this, you got not just the cost of travel away from home, but you've got, people forget about the downtime.
Yeah. The time when you're not doing something else.
Exactly. So for me, when I was living in Bangkok for the past 9 years till I came to visit Sydney, when I would travel somewhere, even if I was just going to Hong Kong, that's like 4 hours plus the travel time to and from the airport, from the airport to the hotel.
Half a day.
Exactly. Minimum half a day. Or if I was flying back to the States, think about this, 24 hours of flying, because there's no flights from Thailand to the US, for whatever reason, crazy. Because it was the world's #1 travel destination before all this madness happened. So you got now 24 hours of non-productive time each way. But what people forget about is the old jet lag thing. Now you in America,
you lose another day.
Oh, more than that.
Right.
Yeah, more than that. So where's the economics of it? Your event costs you a fortune. My friend Casey Eberhardt, who's been emceeing events for years, he and I were talking the other day, and he's like, I've got an event coming up that's actually the event's coming up in January, but we just completed an event just a couple of days ago. That weekend, he had 9 other events that entire weekend. He could never do that physically. But yeah, you're just going from Zoom. It's like, well, I finished with you. I'm on to
he
another one.
changes shirts.
Yeah, even if, maybe not even.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
if the people don't overlap, nobody notices.
Yeah. I mean, we'll change out. I've got another screen that can go back here. I've got the green screen that take care of the palm trees, and the palm trees go on the either side, and we're ready for the next event. Boom, done. Let's rock. So far more economical to that degree. But what gets even more interesting, aside from just the cost benefit and the time benefit, because the opportunity time is now so expanded, but now we also have incredible impact that's so much deeper. My friend Joel Bauer, who's been training speakers for 40 something years. He's an old timer, and I'm older than he is actually, but he was resisting doing his famous masterclass digitally because he's out in the audience, and I probably can't disclose what he does in it, but he wants to, hands-on and,
speakers on the feed on that energy and things like that.
I mean, now it's like, can you touch somebody on the shoulder in the audience? Maybe we need a disclosure for that, because that could be called harassment.
Oh yeah.
Right. But I mean, I would, when I'm speaking, I would go to the back row, and I would literally be doing back rubs and massages on everybody, and they love that. So he was resisting it. He just finished his event, and he had a whole bunch of extra bonus stuff. And he said at the end of it, this was the most intimate event I've ever done. And the reason is, I'm looking right at you. We're right there. And even when Tony Robbins had 23,000 people, and which is crazy, but Zoom can handle it when you do it right. The connection that people had with him, and people have told me this privately, they're like, I felt like I was right there with Tony, more so than when you're in that audience and you can't see past the third row because the lights are blinding you. Russell Brunson said the same thing. So the intimacy that you can have, the connection that you can have, which translates into conversion, translates into enrollment, translates into results, and ultimately translates into both effectiveness and, if we're in business, which we are, profit. Right. So that's critical. I mean, look at, you and I are like, you said we're so far away. No, we're not. We're right here.
Right. Yeah.
We're right here.
That is what is so cool about this. I mean, technology, and especially within the last 8 months, let's be honest, things really had to take a leap forward pretty quickly. But yeah, we could have done this several years ago, but the internet might have cut in and out. We might not have had a good camera. I mean, all sorts of things. And now it truly is like you're sitting across the desk from me.
And there was such resistance to it. I remember years ago, I created my brand called which is called Live Conference TV. And the idea was that people that were live streaming, they would turn the camera on, the speaker would be on the stage. When there was a break, they turned the camera off. And at home, people were like, what happened?
Yeah. Did we lose it? And then what happened? They left.
Exactly. So our concept was, let's run a simultaneous event where we have a host during the break, and that host would then run a second show, which was the whole idea. It was a live conference television. People didn't want to play. Russell, in fact, Brunson, who went on video to say, this was the best event ever had, blah, blah, right? They resisted it. They wanted people there physically because their belief was, and not wrongly, but their belief because of their experience was that they could not engage people enough to take their high ticket offer, their $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 program, unless they were in the room, in the energy. And trust me, the energy that he has in his physical rooms are incredible. Right. But the energy that you have, that you can create, and we've created it, and our clients have created it, my students have created it, is you can have the most incredible community and family in a Zoom room. Right. My Pride event, and Pride again stands for Produce Ridiculously Irresistible Digital Events. I love making acronyms. They're dancing. I mean, and I'm not a dancer, but they're all dancing and jumping up around and this, and the biggest challenge I found is, as a speaker, I don't want to stop because it's just so much fun. Right. And the best part, Deb, they buy. Right. They buy because you can now just relax and you can do it from home. I'm in my house right now. I mean, I'm at my dining room table right now talking, which is also my studio. And I have studio space, but I won't use it because frankly, like right there is my view of Sydney. and I'll be damned if I'm going to be in a
Mhm.
closet
Oh, yeah.
shooting,
Mhm.
producing.
Mhm.
And I can look out there and go, it's a beautiful day right now.
Mhm.
The park is, I'm like overlooking the park. It's
Oh,
stunning, you know?
mhm.
And so you can have that and you can invite people in.
Mhm.
There's things I do in my events. Like we just made pizza together the other day.
Mhm.
And I just turn the camera that way, and that's where the kitchen
Right.
is. And
Mhm.
so we make pizza, you know, and
Mhm.
you can let people in a way that you never could
Mhm.
before.
Right. Yeah, I think
So
that's been the thing with the pandemic is people really figured out that it's not just we're going to be sit here talking. You can do all of these things. Now, granted, it helped that we all of a sudden had kids that were having to do things. And so I think we learned a lot from them, you know, seeing them do their science experiments and you know, whatever, all the interaction that they have. But yeah, we figured out I can do everything, you know, now and be on camera. I mean, it's not that you have to be sitting here. Obviously, you might have to set things up just a little bit differently if you're going to be moving around, but you know, and I one thing I'd have to change, I have a little headset in.
yep,
So
yep.
you know, I'd have to change that. Otherwise, I'd be strangling myself or disconnecting. But that's all right. I could just turn my speakers on. You know, and so there's, you know, all these different things that we can do. But yeah, you know, we've discovered that really now there are no limits.
It's amazing. And I'll tell you, just even with you in the headset.
Mhm.
So when I was speaking on physical stages, I have a very expensive, best Christmas present I ever got ever
Mhm.
headset. I got the
Right.
Madonna headset,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And it's awesome, but it's wired.
Mhm.
I mean, it's
Mhm.
wired.
Yeah.
It's wired to a hip pack,
Right.
you know, and that goes into the house system
Mhm.
and so on.
Mhm.
So it's a wireless lab.
Mhm.
How do you use it here? Well, for $100, I bought
Mhm.
an adapter, and
Mhm.
bam, I can now walk around
Right.
with my Madonna mic. I almost used it
Mhm.
today. Actually, I was thinking about standing up for
Mhm.
this, but I was like, no, you're sitting. I'm going to sit.
Mhm. Oh, yeah.
But I stand up for my events,
Mhm.
and the, you know, and I'll tell you the other thing too. It's interesting. So you can do all that and
Mhm.
still be able to walk around,
Mhm.
because the fun thing too is that people ask, you know, what about the technology? You have the technology. If
Mhm.
you're watching this right now,
Mhm.
you have the technology.
Right. Right.
I shot my first Pride event.
Mhm.
We did on a GoPro.
Wow.
No kidding. I had the
Mhm.
GoPro. I was like, I didn't like
Mhm.
the webcam because
Mhm.
after a certain distance, it loses focus.
Mhm.
And
Right.
I wanted distance because I needed to get me in frame.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I was like, will the GoPro work? And my
Mhm.
producer was like, yeah, go
Mhm.
get, you know, so
Mhm.
we got a little adapter, and
Mhm.
I'll be damned. Now I look back at it now, I'm like, ooh, because I've,
Mhm.
now
But
upgraded
it
to,
worked.
yeah.
Mhm.
And nobody cared.
Mhm.
I mean, let me tell you something, my sales,
Mhm. Right.
or actually, it's funny.
Mhm.
I was talking to my sales team, and you know, I said, "Here's what we did." She goes, "I know." I'm like, "What do you mean you know? You always close 25 to 30% of the audience. You always do, no matter what.
Wow.
Every
Mhm.
yeah, I do typically,
Mhm.
which is why I'm among the people that, you know, are
Mhm.
pretty successful in this
Right.
business,
Right.
right? That's why
Mhm.
people want me. So, you know, and there's others that don't, but it's
Mhm.
all knowing the audience. It's
Mhm.
all about recognizing who they are. You know, we talked like you're in Atlanta. When I would travel to Canada, I learned to talk Canadian.
Right. You
You
said,
know,
"Hey."
and yeah, you know, actually, that was one of the things I wouldn't do because that was
Mm.
just too that I
Too
thought wasn't right.
forced.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but what I would do is, you know, things like they don't go to college in Canada; they go to university.
Right.
So you change your language.
Mhm.
Most parts of the world, it's university or
Mhm.
uni.
Mhm.
In Toronto, you don't talk about things; you talk about things, and
Mhm.
then you modify your language. But not in Vancouver. They
Mhm.
talk about things. You know,
Mhm.
so you really do model, and when you
Mhm.
do, and the other thing too is you learn who the supermarket is. You learn where
Right.
the biggest intersect, where the traffic is,
Mhm.
and you can throw those things
Mhm.
in. You know, so it's like when I go down the street to Kohl's, which is
Mhm.
which is an Australian store.
Mhm.
Excuse me, I'll mention that, you know,
Mhm.
or when I was in Winnipeg, we typically the Holiday Inn in Port Engine, Maine. We'll talk
Mhm.
about Port Engine, Maine,
Mhm.
and people know that you know, and when
Right.
you know that you know, you
Mhm.
can connect. Just before we
Mhm.
went on, you know, when I discovered you in Atlanta, I was like,
Mhm.
where,
Mhm.
you know,
Right.
and to be able to and be able to
Mhm.
connect on that. People are
Mhm.
like, well, you know, you would never know. No, I've spoken there, babe.
Mhm.
You know, I've
Right.
been there.
Yeah.
Really?
Mhm.
You get me? Then you
Mhm.
get me. And
Mhm.
when they know you get them, it's
It's that
beautiful.
whole know, like, trust.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And it doesn't need to be fake.
Mhm.
You know, it's like, you know, I love Portugal. When people come to my events, last event was 14 different countries,
Wow.
you know, and the cool thing is I've been to a lot of them. So I was
Mhm.
able to talk about that because I travel a lot with my mother.
Mhm. Mhm.
We spend months on the road together. And again, the other part of the beautiful thing about this is that as long as you have internet,
Right. You can be Anywhere.
Anywhere. And the beautiful thing too is I don't have it in front of me, but I have what's charging over there. I've got a mobile router that's like this size.
Oh, okay.
It's 5G and it's incredible. And so you always want to have a backup anyway. So when the systems go down or whatever, I mean, I could have, if I got up earlier, and I thought about this, about blowing your mind with this morning, about doing this at the Sydney Opera House.
Ooh.
Because I could have. Right. Because I could have.
Right.
I mean, I've got the technology to do it, and it's cheap. It's cheap.
Right.
So when people are like, I don't think I can do the tech. No, you can. I mean, it's honest to God, it's Zoom and your iPhone and you're done, you know?
Right.
And I mean, it's crazy. Listen, our first, the OpportunityThon event, 55 speakers, 28.5 hours. Guess what? We did it on a platform called StreamYard, which is so easy to use. And with a 30-day trial, we did it for free.
It didn't even cost. Oh my gosh.
It was cheap. It's only $25. I want the cost nothing to use. And it's fantastic. But I mean, we did it for free. So where was our expense? You know, we had a logo made. Oh, joy. And actually, truth be told, the logo that I started creating myself, my friend Dean Hankey, who helped me produce it, he made it for me.
Right.
We had, you know, there's so little expense to this, truly.
Right. Yeah. I tell people, you know, Zoom is free. Now, you probably have a paid version. I have the paid version because we're recording longer periods of time. And we can have bigger groups. I mean, you know, and of course, Zoom, smart company. You know, the smartest thing they did was, of course, you know, back in March, they said schools use it for free. Hello. But you know, like now, so, you know, as we record this, it's actually the week before Thanksgiving. It will air after that. But they announced today that on Thursday, on Thanksgiving Day, Zoom is free and unlimited. So you can just set your camera up, you can turn it on, and you're there all day. Now that'll be funny because I'm sure a lot of people will forget that grandma's watching, you know, all those various things. But you know, and I did a Zoom where we were thinking, you know, we were going to have more than the 100 people that I pay for. And they said, that's okay. For 1 month, you pay the higher fee. Then it goes back to the, and so I was like, okay. And they said, and we don't charge that unless we actually have to. So, you know, but yeah, you know, people say, well, how much does it cost to do your podcast? You know, I bought the mic, you know, it was a couple $100 at the most. My camera was a couple $100. Now I cheated on that. I used points. And, you know, because I used Amazon points from buying all my other stuff on Amazon. So my camera was fairly inexpensive. You know, there are some basic costs, but once you have them, you have them. It's not like I have to buy a new camera every time, you know, all of these various things. And so that's the thing with digital events. You get set up and you've done the costs. Oh,
for real. And even that. There's zero, you already have what you need anyway. Do your first couple of events with the stuff you got, which may not be optimum, but you've got it.
Right.
I mean, so for example, I told you about my Madonna mic. It's made by a company called Countryman. It's the same mic that Madonna will use. I mean, it's that pro type mic.
Right.
And I think right now it's like $400 or $500. I think that's what the price is.
That's not bad.
I've had it for like 20 years.
Yeah.
So where's the cost, right? I mean, for real, this mic was, I think it's $80, whatever. It's only a Technica. I love it. You know, I had a Yeti and my Yeti got destroyed in the humidity in Thailand. So it's all scratchy and crappy. They got rid of it. And it's also pretty darn heavy to travel with. Oh my God.
Yetis are big mics.
Yeah, but they're great mics. So, but even that, I mean, this is super, super inexpensive. And the camera, again, I told you, I used a GoPro 5 for goodness sakes. I've now upgraded and I invested a little bit of money into a new camera, but, and frankly, the difference, it's pretty stunning with the new camera, but I'll never do it again. I mean, there's no reason to do anything ever again, you know? And do I need to? No, they're not buying the fact that I got, you know, a deep focus behind me. They're buying the message. They're buying the fact that you care and that you're delivering content that changes their lives. That's the thing, you know, it does. I mean, sound's probably the more important thing, even in the video. As long as they can hear you, they want you.
Right.
And people forget that. They wonder and they're like, oh, I don't think I could do it. Yeah, you can. If you got a message, you can do it. And the fun thing is, people really will buy. They will. They're looking for leadership right now. You know, people are looking for the message. And you said something. You did a podcast a few days back that I ended up watching. And I woke up with you this morning. You were great, by the way.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. Yeah. So your husband shouldn't be jealous,
Oh.
but nonetheless, so we spent the morning together, and this guy produces podcasts for people.
And he's a youngster. He's 20. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he's a kid. Yeah. Well, I'm only 22. So it's,
This is true.
We're same age. Yeah. Spiritually. Anyway, there was a talk about differentiation, and you said something along the lines of were there. I'm trying to remember the exact quote, which I'm not typically good at, but basically it says there's no one's different anymore.
Right.
And I beg to differ because there's no one that can be different. That's the same as you, Deb. Right. Nobody. You're a light of your own, and people watch you, and they're watching us because you're amazing.
Right.
There's nobody else like you. And because if we come from this space of we're all the same, then what's the point? Everybody's differences, my experiences over the years are dramatically different than my competition. And because there's no competition. There's people that have just invested $10,000 in a friend of mine's program, and we teach similar things.
Right. But it is different.
What he does and what I do are dramatic, and our styles are different. Our delivery is different. Our experiences, our wisdom is different. And if I give you one thing that lands that could turn your life and your business around, that will have you making an extra $200,000 a year, is it worth investing 10 grand with me? Yeah. Is it worth investing 50 grand with me? Duh.
Right.
So
it's a good ROI.
It's a hell of an ROI, and people what I do with people is I give them ROI. I have this incredible ability that I've toned over the years of finding opportunities in people's businesses. And it's like, did you think about that? Yeah. And I don't let people bullshit themselves. I'm sure I can say that on your podcast, but I don't let people BS them. BS stands for bad story. Right. So I don't let people skate with that stuff that they do, because we are so much infinitely more powerful than we give ourselves credit for. And we, even you and I, no doubt in our private moments go, should I really, we should. Yeah, we should. Right. Because people want to hear it. And they also, I'll give you this too, they want to see you screw up a little bit too. They want to see you flub some words. They want to see you say something embarrassing.
They want to see my camera fade in and out. Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to talk to you about that later. Because obviously you've got a Logitech autofocus, which
but it's turned off. Isn't that weird? The autofocus is turned off.
That's why I use the GoPro, because I couldn't stand that. It was driving me nuts. And they're like, that was their tech support was like, that's a technical term. Right?
Well, we don't know why it does that.
So I killed it. Yeah. You might try the Brio, which is a bit more expensive.
That is what this is. It's the Brio.
No.
It is.
Oh my God.
And I have turned the autofocus off. See, and okay, so this is just, little technology aside thing.
I can't believe you're having that with a Brio.
It's a new Brio. I've had it, I don't know, COVID time, my brain doesn't grasp time anymore. But I've had it 3 or 4 months probably. And it just, and now I understand. And now see, okay, this does make sense to talk about this during this interview, because we have these things happen as we're trying to give a program. So it's like, okay, so I talk with my hands. So somehow it tries to refocus on my hands.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's weird though, because I was noticing it coming in and out, and because I was advised to get a Brio as well, and I was like, I don't want a Brio, and the big reason was the Brio was only going to serve as a webcam, so I moved to a 35 millimeter camera, and I made sure that it had an external mic input, so now I can take the camera down to Sydney Harbor or up to the mountains or wherever I'm going and still shoot video, both live and stream it. Or I can just shoot nice video or take whatever images I want and use it. If I'm going to get a good camera, then, this is an iPhone 10. It takes great stuff. But guess what? I never thought I could do this much better. I've always wanted to be able to shoot video that had the blurred background. Right. I just like that tickles me.
I know. Yeah, like we were saying, the technology is just incredible. And that is what allows us to do this. And it's interesting, as you were saying, I've talked with a lot of speakers, and throughout the course of the whole program, the years, but the ones recently, of course, have been saying, oh my gosh, I'm not doing presentations. I'm not doing programs. And And they're not, I mean, clearly they're not. We are not anywhere in the world, for the most part, getting together physically to meet. There's just too many, we're not going to fly. We're not going to get together. I mean, all these things. And, those that all of a sudden went, I can do this online, are far more successful. They did that. I love the keyword. The keyword for 2020 is pivot, right?
Yeah.
So they pivoted and they went, I can still do what I do sitting here. I only have to change my shirt. I don't, I can, I can have, t-shirt and a good shirt on, but, shorts and flip-flops, it can be in my spare room, in my kitchen, all these various things. And it's working out perfectly. Plus they can give far more offerings. It's not just, hey, we're going to do this. They can truly personalize it for the groups, all those various things.
And you have a global audience too,
right?
Where you didn't before. I mean, someone in Cape Town, South Africa can't logistically travel to Atlanta for 2 days.
Right.
I'm a crazy person. I did fly from Bangkok to Vegas for a 2-day program like 2 years ago. I spent more time flying than I was in the actual meeting room. Stupid, crazy. And my body was like, don't ever do that again.
Yeah, don't do that again.
I mean, my jet lag was crazy. But you have that ability now. And again, last event was 14 countries. I mean, 14 countries in one room. It was pretty amazing. And I'll tell you, here's the other thing I should let you know, the logistics of it. So, to make an event profitable with 10 people, difficult in a meeting room.
Right.
But online, I mean, one of my students, she joined my program and within just a couple of weeks did her first event. She's like, I'm just going to jump in. And I was like, this is the kind of person I love to work with. Right. Because so she jumps in, scheduled her event, did it 2.5 weeks later. She had 11 people that paid a whopping $25 to show up, which went to charity, 8 showed up, right? Of the 11.
Right.
And of the 8, 2 of them scheduled appointments to buy her consulting services, which are $5,000 a month.
So her ROI was really good.
She spent $750 or something crazy like that for the entire event to produce it. She was scared. She was terrified. It was,
and she was, and the nerves probably showed.
No. Here's what happened. She began it at 8 o'clock in the morning. At 8:00, she let it go a few minutes so people could come into the room. So at 8:04, she started. She said at 8:04, all the fear went away. I was like, we're going.
Good for her.
She had a great time. She had a fabulous time. I got her on video. She had a fabulous time. And worst case, even if she has to do some financing on it, she's got a $1,500 a month client on a $750 ad spend to produce it. So it's $18,000 in revenue minimum. It could be 60. That's her potential.
Right.
But 18 grand on $750. And she did it in a 1-day event, doing exactly what I told her not to do. And she still made it work. You can be so imperfect that as long as they get your heart,
right,
you win. And that's the guidance I'm able to give people. It's like, just get out of your way, get out of your head, show up. They buy, they buy,
right, because
they want you. And everyone seems to forget that. So I love, when I can teach people to do that and I see the results, it's not work. It's just, it's absolute joy. And the cool thing is, so I created this course like 5 years ago called the Online Event Success Formula. And Deb, it was horrible. If you think about it compared to what I know now, I mean, I just kept giving content. It wasn't organized. It was just a brain dump. It was like, here's my head, take everything.
Right.
And it was $5,000. It sold out. And everyone loved it. It was great. But I knew it was like, I needed a curriculum advisor.
Needed to be organized and
But today I deliver the training in 3 days live. It's not now, there's nothing recorded. It's all, rather than, yes, you can buy my course and learn how to do live events over the next 6 weeks, watching these videos.
Right.
Bull. No, we're going to do an event. We're going to be in the Zoom room together. We're going to experience the ups and the downs. We're going to dance a little bit. We're going to, we're going to go into breakout rooms and engage with one another. You're going to experience what it's like to deliver it. And we'll do it. And we'll step back and go, here's what we just did. You learn, you learn when do you make the offer?
Right.
How do you make the offer? How do you invite people to join you? Because here's the thing. If you do it too soon, they hate you. If you do it too late, you hate yourself. So you have to learn what I call it the dance. It really is a dance with your audience to have them fall in love with you. And once they fall in love with you, you're good. You're golden.
Right. Yeah. You showed that value and they're going to do it.
I mean, you've done 600 or so episodes, and I bet it feels like you started just yesterday.
It does.
Yeah.
Because
and
it's still fun. People are like, why do you do this? Oh my gosh, it's fun.
Yeah. And if you didn't, and if you, I forgot my train of thought. I totally lost it. Wait a minute. I forgot totally. It just evaporated.
That's all right.
But you do love it. I know what the point was.
Yeah.
People are still watching you. I mean, there's still an audience and it's growing because people are engaged with you and your enthusiasm. And the thing about you is, and here's the challenge, or not challenge. Here's the thing that as a producer and speaker, if you're going to do an event, you got to be careful of. You got to watch your time.
Right.
You know, and I mean that. It's like we started, Deb and I, here's the backstory. So Deb and I, obviously Deb said that we were already pre-recorded. So OG, now I was already like faking it out for you.
I know.
Like yesterday,
We do still kind of promote it as being live, but not quite. They know we're live.
We're live on tape.
Yeah,
so,
live on Memorex, right?
Well, yeah,
for those of us that remember that.
I remember Memorex. Yeah, let's not date ourselves, girl.
Yeah. We saw it was on some movie.
Oh, right. I heard about that somewhere. Right. But the thing is, what I was getting at is, so Deb and I were talking for 4 hours prior to this until finally one of us said, we need to do this thing to get it done because Deb has to have dinner and I have other meetings. So you really do, when you find someone that you love, and most of the people that we tend to attract ourselves to are people that we love having on, we need to manage our time. But I'll tell you what, when you do, it's amazing. And here's the other thing I should mention too. So you can do an event without anybody other than yourself. You can have guests if you want, but you don't have to. So I'm thinking my friend Kim Walsh-Phillips did an event, her first 3-day event, and you want to talk about brilliant marketers. She's incredible. You should really have her on your show if you haven't already.
Oh, I have not.
She's amazing. She's fun. She's terrific. She knows her stuff. If you want to succeed on Facebook, for example, I consider her the queen. And the best thing about her is that when you get to her webinar, before you even get to meet her on the webinar, you've seen her on video, she has you do an exercise which proves that what she says works. So before you even get there, you have results in advance. How can you not?
So you're going to pay attention.
Hell yeah. Oh, it's amazing. So she did her first event. She had her tickets were $97. She sold about 100 of them. So she already made $1,000 before, I'm sorry, $10,000 before she ever started, right? At the event, the people that showed up, they invested in her program. I think her program was 10 grand. I forget the exact number, but she walked away with $250,000 in revenue from that weekend.
Nice.
Which then grew after that. I know the backstory. It grew to even more after that.
Right.
Now, don't be intimidated by $250,000. I mean, again, my friend Pam, and by the way, I say my friend, she's a student of mine. My students become friends. I handpick them. I do. Here's the other thing. When you start doing it right and you do it from your heart and you're doing things that are high ticket, you can choose who you want to play with.
This is true.
If you don't like them, don't do it, for God's sakes. So now when my Safari group meets, for example, it's not like, oh, I got to meet with them. It's like, when's Safari, and I end up giving them bonus sessions and things, because it's just like, I got nothing to do. Let's have a bonus session. They become friends, they become clients. And when they do the stuff that you encourage them to do, I'm like a proud parent.
Right. You want them to be successful.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you can aspire to get to that. I mean, you take a look at someone else, Pedro Adeo, for example, took his challenge and went from, and he sold, I think like 1,000 or whatever. I don't know the number exactly, but it was easily 1,000 people. 2 weeks later, put him into a 3-day event. They showed up, they bought, and his numbers were literally in the millions. In the million. Now, again, don't be intimidated by that.
Right.
$18,000 for your first event. It's not too shabby. And by the way, what did Pam do? She's already booked her next event for next month.
Yep.
Or a month after her first one, which is still, she's pushing it tight, but she didn't care.
But
even if she gets
part of it is you build on that momentum, and if you don't schedule it right away, well, then, life gets in the way.
You're no longer a virgin. You're no longer, and now it's like, okay, I got this. And once you've done your workbook and once you've done your, your run of show and so on, now it's just finessing, it's tuning it.
Right.
It's like going to the gym. So when I was in Atlanta, I went to circus school. I think they were in Marietta. I forget exactly where they were, but I went to this circus school and I was learning the trapeze and the ropes. And it's very, very cool. But if you're not in shape, it's very, very hard.
Oh yeah.
So
I would have,
it's,
I'd splat.
yeah. But I have been doing Pilates
Mhm.
for a long time in the city,
Mhm.
and so I was shocked that I was actually able to do stuff, right?
Mhm.
Well, the circus school here in Sydney, and
Mhm.
since I'm able to still be able to be here for a few more months under
Mhm.
my visa, I'm going to circus school
Of
again.
course.
And I will tell you,
Mhm.
my body hurts everywhere, and
Oh. Mhm.
I am nowhere near as strong as I was back then 10 years
Mhm.
ago.
Mhm.
So again, you got to get through it,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
So it's wax on, wax off.
Yeah,
Your
there's
first
that
event,
muscle memory thing. Mhm.
oh my
Mhm.
God. Oh my God. But
Mhm.
yesterday was good. Yesterday I was
Mhm.
actually able to do a leg lock going. I'm doing silks now. So I'm able to climb up and do my
Oh,
own Cirque du
cool.
Soleil. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's cool. It's really, it's
Mhm.
very, very cool.
Mhm.
But but there is fear, there's
Mhm.
always fear.
Right.
You will on your first event
Mhm.
have fear. Barbara
Mhm.
Streisand, I think when she goes
Oh,
on,
she throws up before she goes on stage.
she
Still.
vomits when she goes on.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. After all these years. And
Mhm.
Barbara, for God's sake,
Mhm.
so, and pick any
Mhm.
star of your
Right.
choice.
Mhm.
There's, if you don't have nerves, you're
Mhm.
not alive.
Right.
There's before
And to me, then, well, you want them because you get that adrenaline partially from the nerves, but it's also if you're not nervous, the crowd picks up on it because
yeah,
to me, then it's like, okay, here I am again. I'm
yeah,
doing
yeah,
this,
yeah,
and they're like, okay,
yeah,
whether it's live or in person, people pick up really quickly on how enthusiastic you are to be there.
yeah. It's funny. I've done plenty of podcasts. I've done plenty of
Mhm.
interviews over the years. And I got up early this morning. I set 2 alarms.
Mhm.
Uh, I was super excited. I watched another one of your podcasts,
Mhm.
so I would be like in the Deb zone,
Right, yeah. You knew what I was gonna
It's like,
do. Mhm.
I knew it. I knew I was going to get her on that. You're all the same. I
Mhm.
mean, I had her. I
Mhm.
was all there because I was excited. And what I also do, and I'll give you this is a 5-star bonus idea,
Mhm.
is before I would ever speak, and this is absolutely true today as well.
Mhm.
I would do what I call bless the room. I
Mhm.
would make, people were setting the room up and doing chairs or
Mhm.
whatever. I'd be
Mhm.
like, everybody either silence or get out.
Mhm.
And I would play some music that would inspire me,
Mhm.
whether it was Magic to Do from
Mhm.
Pippin, which was typically my theme song.
Mhm.
And now I've got a song from Kristen Chenoweth.
Mhm.
So I was here, and it's really
Mhm.
about giving back
Mhm.
and the contribution you make with your
Mhm.
audience, and that creating that space
Mhm.
for you to contribute and be
Right.
part of your audience. I do it
Mhm.
now. I mean, before we went on,
Mhm.
I did that too.
Mhm.
I call it blessing the room, and it's
Mhm.
really just getting yourself in that
Mhm.
moment.
Right.
And I'll tell you again, things will go wrong.
Mhm.
There will be challenges. Your internet will go out
Mhm.
or whatever, and that's okay.
Right.
People stay.
Mhm.
They know what's going to happen. It
Mhm.
happens everywhere. But,
Right.
but here's what happens: they measure you on how you handle it.
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we lost internet in my Pride
Mhm.
event. We lost internet,
Mhm.
and now we'll teach you how to do backups.
Mhm.
So there was
Mhm.
someone else that was able to jump in. Yep, Ken's
Mhm.
out,
Mhm.
and all we did was we unplugged from the wall. Always plug into the wall, by the way. We
Mhm.
unplugged
Oh,
from
you
the
give it a
wall.
little more oomph. Mhm.
Yeah, and well, I turned that whole network off,
Mhm.
and then and then what I did was I have a mobile router,
Mhm.
and I used the mobile router.
Right.
That's the backup.
Mhm.
I was back on in like 30
Mhm.
seconds.
Right.
So you plan for it in
Mhm.
advance. But when things go wrong, it's like,
Mhm.
and by the way, they go wrong physically too. I was doing
Mhm.
an event, you mentioned you're from Colorado. I
Mhm.
believe I did this event in Denver. It was either Denver or
Mhm.
Fort Lauderdale. But either
Mhm.
way, I was on stage. I was speaking for Harv Eker.
Mhm.
And Harv traditionally, whenever he would do an event, even with his paid speakers like me, there was a music stand in the middle of the stage where
Mhm.
all your notes were,
Mhm.
right? So you always had your cheat sheet.
Right.
And so I'm out there and I'm like, la 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 la, right, with my
Oh,
hands.
we can tell what's going to happen.
Uh-huh. Bam!
Away it went. Uh-huh.
Bam!
Mhm.
And the paper's flying in the air
Mhm.
and the audience gasps.
Right. Mhm.
And I look at the audience and I look at the papers and I look on the floor and I look at the audience and I go, bet you're glad it wasn't you. They were hysterical.
Right. Oh, yeah. Mhm.
And I owned them. I was like,
Mhm.
talk amongst yourselves while I get
Mhm.
myself back together here.
Right.
And
Mhm.
it's like, own it
Mhm. Mhm.
because they see it.
Mhm.
And if you're like, oh, they're like, oh,
Mhm.
he's an amateur.
Right.
It's great. It's great. And
Mhm.
someone heckled me on one event. I was like, could you let me finish my talk, please?
Yeah.
And they're like, yay! They're looking for leadership,
Mhm.
not humor.
Right.
They're looking for leadership.
Mhm.
You can be snarky and
Mhm.
and cheeky along the way,
Mhm.
as long as it fits in. That's part of your
Mhm.
personality.
Right.
But they're looking for, we need leadership. I mean, especially, especially now in our world, we need leadership, but everybody wants to be told what to do. They want, here's how you fix your business. You do this, you do this. Okay. That's it. I mean, when people come to me, they want to know, how can they fix their business? How can they take themselves to the next level? How can they produce an event? How can they be on that event? How can they sell more from that digital or physical stage? How can they pivot from, oh God, to, oh yeah, that's the difference that we're able to make. And they don't want playing games. They want, let's get to it. But what some people need to recognize is that building rapport is also getting to it. And when you're telling a story and whatever, and you're sharing even your family, that's getting to it. People want to know who you are. Something about the anal retentive analyst, I don't care about your family or your dog. We want to know what's the deal here, but
they're probably not going to be there to start with.
They're not your right fit audience. And don't worry. And that's another thing to share with you. Don't worry about the people that are your haters. If it get rid of them, get literally, don't throw them out, but I mean, disregard it. And there's an elegant way to do it. And it reminds me of the political campaign years ago with Mitt Romney. Now, whether you liked Mitt Romney or not is insignificant. This is a marketing conversation. Romney's a businessman. Now, do you want to advertise, for example, Deb, do you want to advertise to people that are not going to buy your stuff?
Right. Yeah. Because that's such a good way to spend your money.
Right. You're not going to, you're a business podcast. You're not going to advertise to soccer players. Right. It's just not going to happen. So Romney apparently was in a private meeting with his donors and was quoted saying something like, the 47% of the people that aren't going to vote for me, I don't care about them right now.
Right.
And
they went,
yeah, well, somebody recorded him,
of course.
Then of course it got spun. Now, again, whether you're a fan of Romney or not is insignificant. The lesson is that while what he said was 100% right, if you looked at the actual conversation, he was 100% correct, 100%. And again, taken out of context. So you want to be sure that what you're saying is contextually right, and recognize that 40% of the 7% of the audience that doesn't resonate with you is not your audience, will never buy from you, and don't worry about it. They're not your people.
Yeah. And sometimes, they have to leave partway through.
I'm happy to invite them to. I'm happy to invite them to. I had somebody who was a total hater. I mean, a total hater, and didn't like. I had a speaker on one day in one of my events, who I adore him, and he can be a little bit. There's somebody you either love him or hate him. Biggest heart in the world, super nice, and the content that he delivered was, I would say, frankly, the best content of the entire event, hands down. In fact, the strategies he talked about being interviewed on podcasts were thousands, literally. Yeah, no kidding. Anyway, so this person was like complaining and whining, and and he's a misogynist, and he treats his daughter terribly, and I was like, you have no clue, lady. You have no clue. And she, she's like, I want a refund of my VIP, but I'll stick around for the rest of it. I'm like, no, you won't. You're out. I was like, really? No. I mean, I long email with, just all the diatribe. I'm like, I don't need the energy. Goodbye.
No.
It's not the right fit. Meanwhile, the feedback that we got on him was off the wall, amazing, and he just sold out an event, which was, I would say, probably about 80% women.
Right. And haters are going to hate. I got heckled. I was giving a presentation on LinkedIn, of all things, and to get heckled at, right?
How can anyone heckle you? You're
oh my gosh,
you're like a
I'm like Miss Mary
muffin.
Sunshine, right?
Yeah, you are a blueberry muffin. You're like, you're amazing.
Yeah. This dude heckled me, and and it kind of startled me. And so I addressed him. I did not ignore him. I responded to what he was saying, and then he said something again. And now he's of course in the back of the room, right? They're either in the back or they're in the front.
Right.
You never have a heckler that's kind of in the middle. But and so he said something again, and so I stopped and I turned and I faced him and I said, "Sir, this is clearly not what you want to be doing. I'm more than happy to refund your money. Contact me afterwards."
Yeah.
And everybody applauded. you know, and it was a group that they routinely met. And so they knew who he was. And I had multiple people come up afterwards and say, thank you so much. He is such a putz. You know, he's this horrible, he's, you know, but yeah, it was like, no, dude, you're not going to heckle me. And of course he wanted to throw me off.
Sure.
And, you know, and sure, he threw me off for, you know, that little bit, but I was also not going to ignore him. And, you know, because that's what a heckler wants too. But,
oh, sure.
you know, I mean, we're all going to have current, potential, you know, all these that just for whatever reason aren't a good fit. And we all want to say, but it'll cost us money if we get rid of them. I'm sorry. No,
you'll make more.
It is not worth that toxicity.
You'll make more. Actually, you'll make more.
Right.
Because your energy isn't focused on that negativity. I had somebody that wanted to join my 10K program, and I was like, no, you will be the biggest pain in my butt for the entire year. I will hate myself. I will want to chew my arm off, you know, for clicking that button to say yes. No, absolutely. I handpick everybody. I really do. You know, sometimes when you do an application close and it's like, you can apply for this, people are like, yeah, that's BS. As long as you get the money, you're not with me. I really, really want to have people that I can call family, and they are all, you know, we talk, and if I like you, I mean, it comes down to, A, can I help you? And B, are you going to be an enjoyable process? If you're just going to be a pain in the butt, I'm trying to watch my words here. You know, no amount of money is, it's not necessary. You don't need to be there. Even if you're struggling, this is, you know, if you're having struggle out there and, you know, you're looking for the answer, and yes, being on stages is absolutely, to me, the answer, if you have a message to get out, if you have a product or a service to sell or whatever, absolutely being on stages, no question, whether it's a 1-day event or a 3-day event. And I teach why you do one versus the other. You can make literally millions of dollars easily. Okay. 6 figures, even easier than that. You know, I don't want to put people out of their comfort zone. Yeah, I do, on a positive way, but get there. But don't out of scarcity, take people that you're going to hate. I mean, and hate's a strong word, that you're not going to be enjoying the process.
You know, I tell people, you know, if I wouldn't sit down and have a glass of wine with somebody, then it's probably not going to work. You know, I'll be polite, you know, all those various things, but it's like, nah, you know, if you're not going to be my buddy, and, you know, and we're not going to be buddies with everybody we work with. I mean, you know, but, you know, it's one of the, you know, I look at it, would I be their Facebook friend? Would they be my Facebook friend? Would they care? You know, and now I'm one of those people. I tell people, my mother, who's 88, looks at my Facebook page every day. So I'm not going to post anything that mom is going to object to. But at the same point, you know, somebody might not like seeing, in fact, I've had people, I mean, you're talking about me being a blueberry muffin. I have had people who have complained that I'm too nice and too positive. And, you know, and there have been some really bad things that have happened in my life.
Sure.
Whatever. You know, you have that 10-minute pity party and then you go merrily along. But yeah, you know, if I wouldn't, you know, at least consider having a glass of wine with them, then, you know, what they're, and that comes back to knowing who your audience is, knowing, you know, so developing your marketing materials so that they have opted out. I mean, you know, they're going to look at it and go, that is not for me. I'm not going to spend my money there. And that's okay. You know, you got rid of them to start with.
We talk a lot about right fit audience, because that's critical, because that was, see, when you have the right fit audience, they love you and you can relax. You can, because now you're, whenever I get in front of an audience, I always assume that the audience is my friend. They really, and truly, they are there to enjoy you. They're not there to judge you or hate you, whatever. They're there to enjoy you because they want to be there, especially now. So if they're, it's like you can completely be transparent, you know, with what you're doing. And again, if you can't be, then why bother? You know, so people, you know, those are the things I teach. It's really about being comfortable with who you are, talking about your passion, sharing your belief. I've got a woman that's one of my students. She's 72 years old.
I love it.
Yeah, let me say it differently. She's 72 years young, because she's got energy. She was in a long-term marriage, got divorced, and is helping women process their transition from being
good for her.
being part of something to now being all of her own. And we took her mission, and she's like, I'm not sure I should really do this. I'm like, no. Yes, you should. People need
You could
this.
see that passion in her.
Yeah. And we took it. She's like, well, what? I said, what's your audience? Well, every woman. No, it's not every woman.
No.
For her, she's very religious. It's Christian women,
And probably even a certain age.
Over 50. Yeah. And we took it, and now she's planning her first event's going to be beginning of February. She's getting it all lined up, and she will crush it. She's already joint venturing with people that are getting a promoter on stages. She's got the confidence, and she's a firecracker. If I was a Christian woman over 50,
you'd participate.
I all day long. I mean, I love having her. So again, that's that whole right fit audience. And when I talk to people about, about coming to my events, I want that right fit. Even on a 3-day where we may have a few hundred people,
right?
You want people that have a level. I don't handpick those guys. I can't.
Right.
But on my signature programs, whether it be my Safari program, my other ones, they're all handpicked. Absolutely, it's all application. It has to be.
Yeah.
And and when you do yours, because do you have a high end coaching program?
I do not.
Okay, well, you will. We're going to work on that together. Really, you should.
Fun.
Yay. Yeah. No, I mean, listen, and this goes to all of you, because you are the perfect example. If you're watching a podcast, or you've got a business, and you've got a message you want to share, and there's people you want to help, you can set up, even if it's 10 people, and they're all paying you, say $10,000 a year. You meet with them on a periodic basis, and we'll design it. That's an extra $100,000 just with 10 folks.
Right.
How would that change?
Sitting in front of your camera, just chatting.
Yeah. How would that change your life? And you have so much information and wisdom over the years, Deb, that people will line up for you. I think you're missing, my opinion, which is always right. You're missing a gigantic opportunity to not just monetize, but also assist people. And if you don't, you cheat them. And this is not just for you.
And it is that assist. It's, we want to, yes, it's great to have that extra money. I mean, let's be honest. We like to pay bills. We like to have fun, all those various things. But for you and I mean, clearly it's about helping other people and seeing them be successful.
Think about the deeper impact you'll make on those 10 lives. And listen, your group may be 20 or 30, however that plays out as you grow it, right? But those people then are influenced to change others as well. My audience is people that are communicators. We're changing the world. We're changing the world. And so to you, and this, I'm saying this to Deb, but truly to you as a listener, as a viewer, this is what you have the capability of doing. And, I want to invite you, this isn't necessarily a pitch, although it is. I want to invite you to consider that you make that pivot to that digital stage. Whether you learn from me or anyone else isn't the issue. You have a message to deliver. You have a voice that needs to be heard. And you can change the world with that. Even if you're nervous about it, it's there right now, and it's available, and it's free if you do it right.
And I'll tell you, it is much easier to present digitally, as opposed to being in front of people. I've been on stage in a variety of ways since I was a little bitty kid, and that just, it was, I mean, it's the whole Barbara Streisand thing. I mean, you get really nervous, and there is kind of that buffer. There's that screen, all these various things. So you still are nervous. You still absolutely positively have to be prepared, but it's not quite so much as, oh my God, I'm going to trip over the cord and fall and all those things. It's just a little bit different.
Yeah. And it's fun. And by the way, you don't have to do it alone.
Right.
So Pam, with her first event, she had 2 other partners, and they did it together.
Right.
Piece of cake. We have an event that's taking place in about 24 hours up in Canada. Well, it's digital, but it's a fundraiser for a bunch of nonprofits. And I have 4 speakers at it. And I'm just hosting. It's my students that are doing it.
Yeah. Well, Jerry Lewis knew how to do that.
Yeah. So it can be as easy as you want. And that's what I teach. I teach people to really feel the power of being able to do it without all the hassle and the drama. And whether we do it together or, we're always doing it together. Even my high-end groups, we're doing it together. Everyone from my Safari and my protege groups will be at this event tomorrow just to cheer people on, just to be in the audience and cheer people on. Right. That's how you feel, a rising tide raises all boats. So we're all there. The community is gigundous. That's a technical term, by the way.
Gigundous, yes.
Gigundous, yeah. Write that down. So So yeah, so that's the whole game. You know, it's, you have a message, people want to hear it. Maybe you don't recognize that people want to hear it, and the ability to deliver it right now is better than ever before.
Right.
The moment has not ended. It is not going to end
No.
ever. It is not going to end anymore. Finally, people are recognizing it, and so now it's still in infancy. Things are changing all the time. And you do have the level of uniqueness to be your own brand, to pass on that message, and for people to make a difference. Huge opportunity.
Right. Yeah. You know, we might go back to meeting in person and things like that, but we got the taste of this. You know, we know what is possible. Yeah, we know it saves money. Let's be, you know, we're not traveling, we're not doing all of those various things. And it's worldwide. I mean, you know, we're what, 5,000 miles apart?
Bigger than that. We're
7, maybe 7. Yeah. You know, and so, 5 years ago, we couldn't have done this, you know, or we could have, but it would have been clunky and, you know, and all those things. And now it's like, okay, we're just going to jump on Zoom and we're going to do this and away we go.
Yeah. Oh, it's just, let's go Zoom. Okay. You know, it's become,
it's the noun, you know, it's like Google.
Yeah, exactly. Hope they properly trademarked it for that. But yeah, it's like, let's go Zoom it.
Right.
And things have shifted, but right now this is the platform that works, and it's not even the platform, because you can do it on StreamYard. You can still do a thing even with Skype. What the hell is that anymore?
I know. I actually took it off my computer this week.
I'm tempted. Because I use it for phone calls actually, but I do have an unlimited phone call thing here. But yeah, for phone calls I've been using Skype forever.
Yeah.
Still. Yeah. So if you're not taking advantage of this, you're missing a huge opportunity for your business. Really, you know, if you're a communicator, this is the opportunity in the moment. And I tell you what, when you ask me about passion, this is what I love to teach. It is,
and it shows. I mean, it's like we were saying, that's what really shows.
Yeah.
So speaking of teaching, oh my gosh, we are at the top of the hour. So now is time. Tell us what you do and how people find you.
I thought you'd never ask.
I know. You've just been waiting this whole time.
Yeah, I was like, yeah. Well, you know, when you're used to selling from the stage, it's really difficult to not. All right, let me get to it because we're running out of time. So go right now to joinpride.com. And you can stay there, or you can get a free gift that I've got for you. I love giving things away. My new book, which is called Nice Guys Finish First. And if you go to joinpride.com/gift, you'll get the book for free.
Cool.
So I love free stuff. So you can do that. The next event coming up for Pride is, since we're dating this, it's going to be into January. So just after this airs.
Okay.
No, actually this is airing in December. So
this is December.
It'll be in January. Second, third week of January, somewhere in that range. We're still negotiating dates. We have to book the hotel, make sure it's working right. Not. So it'll be in January. It's a fantastic event. It is remarkably affordable. But if you go to joinpride.com and then joinpride.com/gift, you'll get more details. Or if you're out jogging or whatever, when I listen to podcasts, you more than likely may forget that. So go to the show notes because Deb has put it in there for you. It's there right now as you watch this. Go look there. Click that button, grab the free gift, come to our event, and mention that you saw it here on the Power Hour, because it helps all of us. It lets Deb know.
Yes, we're an interconnected world.
I get to tell her that, Deb, they responded. They listened to you.
Oh my God. They really love us.
Yeah. So go do that. Grab that free book right now. It's worth a whole lot more than you're paying for it. And it gives a chance to connect.
Perfect. See, and I typed it in, so I've got it right here. It says, they laughed when I revealed my surprising two-word secret to success. We're not going to say anymore because we want people to go see.
I'm so glad I put that page up today before
I know. I've done that before with guests. They've said, we have this. And I'm like, the page isn't live yet.
Right. And then it's like 24 hours. Oh God, we didn't do that yet. Yeah. But we teach that backstory stuff. It's like, do it now before you forget.
Do it now before you forget, before we go squirrel, right?
Right. And it happens. There's no future. There's only right now.
Right. I love it.
Do it. So go do it.
Go do it. There's nothing that's holding you back. There's nothing that's stopping you.
If you're watching us, click the link. Do that. Grab the book.
Yes. Grab the book. Grab the book. There it is. And so they can also find about your programs at liveconferencetv.com. Yes. So, that is the great place to go find that information.
Yep. Yeah. And Join Pride, I think we'll link over there too, whichever.
Okay.
But
Okay.
yeah, either way, you'll hear more about the company at livecomedytv.com. I am
Perfect.
so delighted to be with you, Deb.
Wasn't
has
this
been
fun?
so
We
much-
love doing this. Can't wait to do this again. So we obviously have to chat again.
Indeed.
I love it when I have repeat guests because
Would love
not
to.
only, it's fun talking again, it just means they have so much information. So
Yeah. Well, the next time we talk, I want to be sure that you will have just done your event. You will have just done 6 figures.
and we'll be reporting about it.
And you'll be able to brag about it. Yep. Absolutely.
Yep. I love it.
I am serious. This isn't just, this isn't like podcast blowing smoke. This is like serious.
I know.
I'm serious. You have a huge, you will be phenomenal.
Me, but I'm so shy and I'm so
Yeah.
retiring.
We got to work on that.
I know.
Yeah.
I had somebody tell me one time I was shy and I was like, have you met me?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So cool. Well, oh my gosh. Do you have any final thoughts for everyone?
That's another 3 hours worth.
I know. Mhm.
Yeah. I tell people this. I tell people just to Nike it. Just do it.
Mhm.
Just if what we've talked about today has you feeling at all emotional, if there's any physical response to what we've talked about, if you're feeling enthusiastic, whatever, then just go for it. Just go do something. Reach out to me, grab the free gift, come to the Pride event, get yourself enrolled in it. And again, it's remarkably affordable. Trust me, you'll see. Because it was a $5,000 event and we're not doing that right now. Pandemic pricing, but just do it. Just do it. Do something. People need your message. They need what you have. If you resonated with was it Rami? What we had, Rav, what was his name that you had last week?
Oh yes, Rom.
Rom. So that was pretty close. Began with an R. If that resonated with you and you want to do podcasts, then you have a message to give out. Now take that and put it into an event and really monetize, because that's where the monetization, that's what much faster monetization. So do it.
Just do it. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, this has been fabulous. I've been having so much fun. Can't wait, obviously, to do it again. I'm Deb Creer. Been having a great time chatting with Ken Krell. And until next time, everyone have a great day.
Tune in for our next program for even more trends, best practices, and techniques for how to make your business a success. The Business Power Hour, hosted by Deb Creer, is proud to be part of the C-Suite Network.